Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession here on the Avian and Loaded channel. Thanks for stopping by. This is Action Figure Obsession episode 105, the 105th Action Figure Obsession video, and this one's called The Cable Guy. All right. Cable is, for me, for my personal tastes and interests in heroic and science fiction, just about the perfect character. This is, we'll show you the most recent one, I guess. This is the most recent Hasbro Marvel Legends Cable. It's the X-Men 97 version of Cable in his full-on, I guess, X-Men outfit. I think he had another costume that he wore earlier in the season on season 1 of X-Men 97, but I think this was like his final outfit of the season, if I recall correctly. I could be totally wrong. As always, correct me in the credits if I get something wrong. But this one is highly stylized and has an animated look to it. Comes with this wonderful sort of plasma rifle, and the other accessory that he came with now belongs to my Marvel vs. Capcom display Cable, which is this sort of plasma pistol or plasma blaster, whatever you want to call it. So those two are the two most recent. This one in front is the Kazar Wave from a couple of years ago. Cable, which is relatively close to the Marvel vs. Capcom look. I also like it because it looks like the Jose Ladron design quite a bit for the Cable comic book from the late 90s. Mid to late 90s, and then the X-Men 97 Cable there in the back, the animated Cable. Those are the two most recent Cables in my collection. But this is all my Cables, and then some. And I wanted to go over them, and I think what I'll do is, first we'll tell you who Cable is and where he came from. Cable is Nathan Summers, also known as the Ascani Son. And he is the son of Scott Summers there on the right, Cyclops, and Madeline Pryor, who is a clone of Jean Grey, who you see there on the left. There is a Madeline Pryor Goblin Queen figure that came out in the X-Men 97 line. I do not have it, and I have not kit-bashed together a Madeline Pryor figure. I do love clones, and again, that's one of the reasons why Cable is such a favorite of mine, and we'll get to that in a second. But these two, basically, Cable, once Madeline Pryor steps off the stage in the X-Men comics, and possibly in the cartoon, I'm not sure. I'm not totally up on my X-Men animated series lore. But Jean and Scott, Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, Phoenix, whatever you want to call her, and Cyclops, basically Cable considers them his parents. Cyclops actually is his father, and he had Cable with Madeline Pryor, who he fell in love with in the comics and married after the Phoenix died. Jean, who he thought at the time was Jean Grey, but it later turned out that the Phoenix and Jean Grey were actually two separate entities. That's the whole thing. It's a long story. I'm sure you can look it up and find a video about the life story of Jean Grey and the Phoenix somewhere. But anyway, so Scott Summers, still grieving the death of the love of his life, Jean Grey, a.k.a. Marvel Girl, a.k.a. Phoenix. He met someone who, during the Paul Smith drawn era of the Chris Claremont Uncanny X-Men run, he met a woman named Madeline Pryor, who bore an uncanny resemblance to Jean, and he fell in love with her almost immediately, perhaps almost mystically. And they fell in love, and they got married. They had a baby, and that baby was Cable. And because of reasons, the baby had to be sent into the future in order to not die. And in the future, he became the Ascani Son, raised by a tribe of some sort, I believe. I'm not terribly familiar with the future Cable story and how he ended up coming back to the present day. But I think, this is the oldest Cable in my collection. I think this is the one from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave, if I recall correctly. And this is kind of a Rob Liefeld-looking Cable. And I mentioned that he fits the bill for three of my favorite tropes in science fiction and adventure fiction, heroic fiction, superheroes. And those are Time Traveler. He is a time traveler, Cable. Uh, Metal Arm, cybernetic arm. His arm actually comes from the techno-organic virus that he is beset by. And it's, the same reason why his eye is always glowing. That techno-organic virus is always threatening to take over his body and screw him up really good. So he's always in kind of a psychic battle against that techno-organic virus. So Metal Arm and Time Traveler, and also evil twins and clones is another one of my favorite tropes in fiction. So time travel, metal arms, and evil twins and clones. And this right here is Stryfe, Stryfe. So that, they can trademark it and copyright it, whatever. And he is a clone slash evil twin, if you will, of Cable, and you can see they're about the same height. In Marvel Legends, Cable and Stryfe are both usually close to 7 inches or about 7 inches, which, in real life, the whole idea with 1/12 scale action figures is that if it was a real person, a real full-size human, they would be about 7 feet tall, maybe 6'9", 6'10", something like that. So this is I believe the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave Cable from, I want to say, 2017 or 2018. He goes back quite a ways. You can see he's got a futuristic, sort of old Western, futuristic, retro Western style, like blunderbuss kind of pistol on his hip there. I lost the one that originally came with him, but this one was included with, it was included with another figure. It might have even been another Cable figure. Whoever it came with, I ended up giving it to this Cable because that holster that it's in, the little strap there, it perfectly made for that pistol because it's the same mold of the pistol that it was originally intended for. So it kind of fits in there, and it makes this one feel a little more complete. He also came with some great weaponry, bigger guns, BFGs, which I do not have. This is the second time I've had this figure, and I got him loose, and he was missing that pistol. But to replace his BFG, I gave him Destro's sort of plasma rifle from the G.I. Joe Classified, not G.I. Joe Classified, from the G.I. Joe line in the Mezco 112 Collective line. So this was Destro's rifle. This is a beautiful piece. I have a couple of these because I bought 2 of these Destros. Look at the detail on that. And it's hard, really hard, sturdy plastic, very resilient, and it has a port for blast effects, the Mezco blast effects. So that is probably one of my favorite 1/12 scale accessories ever, just because it's a really, really nice rifle, and it kind of gives this Cable a BFG of his own, and making up for the fact that I sold off the first one and no longer have him or his original weaponry. Now his feet are kind of giving out on me here. He keeps wanting to fall over, so I'm trying to bend him back a little bit. There we go, with Mom and Dad. And see if I can set that up. There's Gene. There's Cyclops, always second rate, third rate. Cyclops. So you have the evil clone, or evil twin, or evil, I think he was a clone, Stryfe of Cable. And as you can see, he has a similarly imposing face under that incredible helmet. This is from the 5-pack. It was an Amazon exclusive 5-pack. It's a reissue and a remold of this character Stryfe. There was an earlier one on the Hyperion body mold, and some of this I think is still the Hyperion body mold, but they redid this with pinless arms and legs, and they did a new head, which is quite complex. I was watching an Anthony's Customs review where he was talking about how insane it is that they made a mold for this helmet, because the head is basically, I think, 2 parts. The part in the front here, the silver part in the front, is the faceplate that they attach probably last. And then the face, the lower part of the face there, which is all we can see. The lower part of his face. Oh my God. Why is it so hard to do everything? The lower part of the face, I think, is part of the sculpt of the helmet. But the mold for it must have been incredibly complex. And it is kind of cool that Hasbro bothered to do that. The 5-pack, I don't think was terribly successful. I imagine that if you wanted to get Stryfe just by himself, you'd probably pay maybe $10 less than you pay just to get the whole 5-pack. It's otherwise packed with sort of C and D list X-Men villains, but the Stryfe figure is absolutely gorgeous and well worth getting. And again, he's Cable's evil clone. This is the other Zabu Build-A-Figure wave. Did I say Kazar Build-A-Figure wave earlier? Kazar was in that wave, and Zabu is Kazar's animal companion. But it was the Zabu, the saber-toothed tiger, Build-A-Figure wave. This is my Marvel vs. Capcom display one. Obviously, I bought 2 of these guys. The other one here has the Pew Pew from the Bone Breaker Build-A-Figure, because I bought 2 of those, whatever the figure was that came with the rifle. And that's a big enough gun for Cable, right? And then I bought on eBay. This is from that Jose Ladron drawn comic run. This is the Scimitar PSY Matar. It's Scimitar, but it's spelled with a PSI or PSI, I think, because of his psychic powers. Maybe it's PSY. But the important thing is, and it cost me $20. This is from the Mezco Cable, which I used to have and do not have anymore. But I've mentioned how Mezco weapons are not for kids. You can see how sharp the point is on that blade. This thing could do some serious damage. It's almost like a scalpel in his hand. That is an accessory for a grown-up collector, not for a child, most definitely, because it is super thin. And look at that edge, super sharp. So this is the Cable that I keep in my X-Men display, along with different Jean Grey and different Scott Summers, but he is with them in that display. Then we have Stryfe. Then we have my Marvel vs. Capcom one with his hand blaster, and finally, real quick look at this guy, and you're like, well, how come he's so short? Look at him. Well, I've mentioned before that the movie Marvel Legends are more of a true 1/12 scale, going a lot by the actual height of the actors rather than, the comic book proportions of all these other monsters. This is the Josh Brolin Cable from Deadpool 2. He was a character in that. Josh Brolin, of course, also played Thanos in the Infinity Saga movies of the MCU. But this is the Cable from Deadpool and Cable, or not Deadpool and Cable, from Deadpool 2. It should have been called Deadpool and Cable, frankly. I remember this was during the height of COVID and the lockdown. Somebody called me and told me that they had seen a whole pallet of these at the Walmart that was about 10 minutes from my house at the time. And I slapped on a mask and I raced up there, and it was the middle of winter and it was super cold. And I went where he told me that pallet of figures would be, and sure enough, there was some, maybe a few of them had been picked over and taken, maybe 8 or 9, but there was probably 80 or 100 of these still left on that pallet, and stupidly, I only bought one. I mean, it's, I hate how short he is. Sorry, Josh Brolin. Did I say James Brolin earlier? That's his dad, Josh Brolin. I may have said James. But he still has the, the techno-organic virus. He's got the metal arm. He's got some nicely painted shells there with the brass tips. He's got his daughter Hope's teddy bear. He's got some, those are just molded holders for some of his extra magazines for his rifle. The rifle is quite impressive for what it is. It is a BFG. It's mostly dark and hard to make out the detail on it, but maybe you can see some of it there. I have often thought about giving that to one of my other Cables, but I feel like it looks good with this guy. They kind of were meant to be together. And yeah, I got it that cold night at Walmart with my COVID mask on and raced home, and so that would have been 2021, maybe late fall, early winter 2021 into 2022, I think. And it might have even been really, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. I think the figure came out in 2020 or 2021 anyway. But so Cable, time traveler, Cable, guy with a metal arm, Cable, guy with an evil clone, I mean, he's everything I want in a comic book character, in an adventure character, a science fiction character. I just think that Cable is one of the coolest Marvel characters ever created that wasn't created by Jack Kirby, but it's important to remember he was created by characters who were created by Jack Kirby. Cyclops and Jean Grey, and Madeline Pryor being a clone of Jean Grey. Those are all direct descendants, either directly created by Jack Kirby or descendants of his ideas, as is Cable, as are all these Cables. And I think that Stryfe is kind of a Kirby-esque character, even if he was created by Rob Liefeld. But that's a very kind of a Jack Kirby design and a Jack Kirby idea. So that'll do it for this edition of Action Figure Obsession. Cable is one of my biggest comic book obsessions, and I wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you stopping by. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with anybody who you think might be interested in what we're doing here on Action Figure Obsession. Again, thank you for spending some time with me today, and I will see you with my cybernetic eye on the next one.